Once again, Hoyoverse has left their fans disappointed, and this time, it's sparked rage across the community. The controversy? It all started with their recent banner announcement featuring Mavuika and Citlali. But why did something so simple make fans this upset? Well, it turns out the issue runs much deeper than it seems, and the situation is way more complicated than anyone expected. So, without further ado, let's dive into this heated topic. So, if you missed it, this all started during the Genshin Impact 5.3 special program. The first half of the 5.3 event Wish featured both Mavuika and Citlali, and honestly, this announcement took everyone by surprise. Why? Well, here's some context. If we look back at Genshin Impact's banner history, from version 1.0 all the way to 5.3, which spans nearly 4 years, this is the first time Hoyoverse has released 2 new 5-star characters in the same phase. Well, many people disagreed with this announcement. Not because they're against change, but because they feel Hoyoverse is being greedy and overly focused on making money. Some even believe this timing is intentional, releasing Mavuika and Citlali right after Christmas and just before Chinese New Year. If we look back, Archons are usually released in version 0.1 or 0.2. But things are different this time with Natlan. Mavuika is set to debut in version 5.3 instead. Every problem has a reason behind it, right? If we're talking about boosting revenue, these 2 new characters clearly target a different audiences. For Mavuika, she's the Archon. And let's be honest, who's gonna skip an Archon, especially if you're an Archon collector? Then there's Citlali. Many fans are feeling FOMO over her, and it's no surprise. She's a cryo character, and the last 5-star cryo character was Ryothasley, released a year ago. And don't forget Shenhe. Her last banner was almost 2 years ago. Crazy, right? To make things even wilder, version 5.3 introduces the Chronicled Wish, featuring Shenhe and Ganyu. This has fans panicking about missing out on cryo characters, leading them to spend even more money. Insane, isn't it? Actually, there's more to this story. While digging deeper into this chaos, I came across an interesting Reddit thread. Now, I can't confirm whether what's said there is true, so let's just take it with a grain of salt.
Hi, I'm a player from China, saw some discussion about recent drama on this sub, so I want to share Genshin's current situation in Sina with you. I started this game since 1.0 era and have been active for over 1,000 plus days. L stopped pay to this game 4 months ago. There's lots of my kind who totally quit this game or just stopped paying these days in China. Genshin's revenue dropped largely around negative 60% in China since 4.8, and Natlan is a huge flop since the opening.
Okay, we'll stop here due to video duration. But if you're curious, feel free to check out the thread yourself for more details. Now, based on the thread, here are the key points I found. Again, take this as a grain of salt. 1. Revenue drop in China. The thread claims that Genshin Impact's revenue in China has dropped significantly since version 4.8. Since China is one of Genshin's biggest markets, this could signal trouble. 2. Toxic China community. It's also mentioned that the Chinese Genshin community has become increasingly toxic. For example, Wanderer reportedly faced backlash due to his rude personality. 3. Lack of new male limited 5 stars. After version 4.1, which introduced Writhley and Neuvillette, there haven't been any new limited male 5-star characters for almost a year. 4. Natlan's gender ratio controversy. The release of the Natlan preview video raised alarms about the gender ratio. It appears that the only confirmed playable male characters are Kinich and Ororan, a stark contrast to the number of female characters. Even Ian-sun, who many expected to be male, turned out to be female. 5. Underpowered male characters. The thread also discusses how new male characters seem underpowered in both lore and gameplay. For example, Neuvillette faced a sudden nerf when version 4.8 rolled out, although later reverted. Kinich, despite his popularity, partly because his voice actors are Naruto and Sasuke, had very little presence in the Archon quest, with fewer lines and lore compared to Mualani and Kachina. This is surprising, especially since Aja's lore could have been explored more deeply, particularly for those who completed all world quests in Ochkanatlan. Ororan was also released as a 4-star, not a 5-star, which disappointed many fans. 6. Waifu versus husbando popularity. Lastly, the thread suggests that waifu characters sell better than husbando characters. Mavuika was initially theorized to be a Bennett or Xiangling upgrade, but Hoyoverse decided to make her a DPS instead of a support, likely to boost sales. There's also a theory that Hoyoverse cut content or delayed kits for Expalanque or Capitano to hype up the 5.3 banner. Plus, adding a new Hu Tao skin in 5.3 seems like another attempt to make this patch more profitable. And that's not all. Don't forget about Event Wish 2, which features Arlecchino and Clorinda reruns. Both of them have incredible value, especially Arlecchino, who's still considered one of the top DPS characters alongside Nouvelette, who just had his rerun in the previous banner. This update is definitely leaving free-to-play players feeling overwhelmed. With so many amazing characters in the same patch, it's hard to decide where to spend your primo gems. The options are pretty tough. Pull Citlali for long-term value since Cryo 5 stars are rarely rerun. Go for Mavuika, the Archon, who boasts strong DPS and exploration abilities. Or stick with tried-and-true characters like Arlecchino or Clorinde, whose potential has already been proven. And let's not forget the adorable new Hu Tao skin. Seriously, she's so cute. So what's your take on this chaotic drama? Are fans just overreacting, or do you think there's more to it? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Honestly, when the banner was first announced, I was pretty surprised. I mean, this is the first time Hoyoverse has done something like this. And after looking into discussions on Reddit, I can't help but feel like this move might have been intentional. Now, about the lack of male characters. There's also a rumor floating around that Capitano won't be playable. And I have to ask, why not? Capitano has such an interesting story, especially with his Cainria connections. Could it be that Hoyoverse is afraid he might overshadow Mavuika in terms of revenue and DPS performance? What do you guys think? And don't forget about Ifa. Ifa was also mentioned in the 5.3 special program, but we still don't know much about him yet. Is he going to be a 4-star or a 5-star? I really hope he's a 5-star to add more variety to the male roster in the game. And that's a wrap. Did I miss anything? If you have any thoughts or opinions about this topic, feel free to share them in the comments below. Let's talk about this topic together. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.